I didn't think that night would matter. I was closing up my shop, hands aching, mind already halfway home thinking about whether my kid had fallen asleep without me again. That kind of tired where you're not dramatic about it anymore, you just move slower and hope nobody notices. Then, headlights cut through the rain, too bright too fast, and a luxury SUV rolled in on a shredded tire like it had fought the road and lost. A teenage girl stumbled out soaked, shaking mascara, running phone-dead voice breaking every time she tried to explain herself. And right there, standing in the rain, I felt that familiar weight in my chest. The one that says the world already decided who you are before you open your mouth. Poor neighborhood. Grease under your nails. Wrong kind of face. Wrong kind of story. I could have sent her away. I could have locked the gate and driven home. Instead, I told her to sit by the heater, poured her some lukewarm coffee, and got down on my knees in the rain to change her tire. I didn't charge her. Didn't ask her name. Just worked. Because sometimes doing the right thing isn't heroic. It's just what you do when a scared kid is standing in front of you and you know how that fear feels. I didn't know her life. I didn't know she came from money so deep it had its own gravity. I didn't know her stepmother ran half the city, or that her stepfather liked to remind people exactly how small they were. All I knew was that she was shaking, and I remembered being that age, realizing the world could be cruel for no reason at all. When I handed her my business card, bent and stained, I wrote my number on the back and said, "Call if safe." She held it like it mattered. The next morning I found out just how much. 3 black SUVs blocked my shop. Security everywhere. And a woman stepped out wearing confidence like armor. New name, new face, but the same look I'd seen my whole life. The look that says I already know what you are. She threw my card on the bench and accused me of targeting her stepdaughter. Said men like me create problems so we can look like heroes later. Didn't raise her voice. Didn't need to. Power doesn't shout. I tried to explain. Rain. Tire. Kid crying. She didn't hear any of it. What she heard was her own fear polished into suspicion. And standing there being talked down to in my own shop, I felt that old rage rise up. The kind you swallow because you know how the story ends if you don't. Then she said something that cracked everything open. She said her stepdaughter slept with my card under her pillow, like it was the only honest thing she'd held on to in years. That stopped me, because that wasn't about me fixing a tire, that was about trust. And trust doesn't come from money or security teams. It comes from someone showing up when they don't have to. That woman came back later with an offer, a lot of money, enough to erase my debts, enough to give my kid a future that didn't feel like borrowed time. She wanted me to restore a wrecked classic car hidden in her basement. A car wrapped in silence and guilt. Her first husband had died in it years ago, and nobody had touched it since. She thought fixing the car might fix what was broken in her family. I almost said no. Not because of the work, but because I could feel the storm around her. Rich people don't invite you in unless there's a price. I said yes anyway. Because sometimes you take the risk when the alternative is staying exactly where the world wants you. That's when the real opposition showed up. Her husband. Smooth smile, expensive clothes, eyes that never warmed up. He didn't like me from the start. Not because I did anything wrong, but because I didn't fit the picture he wanted. I was a reminder that his power wasn't absolute. He made comments. Subtle at first. Jokes that weren't jokes. The kind that land just soft enough to deny later. I kept my head down and worked. Night after night, piece by piece, bending metal back into shape, listening to that quiet voice in my head that says broken doesn't mean finished. The girl started coming down to the garage while I worked. Watching. Asking questions. Handing me tools. She didn't talk much at first. Just wanted to be near someone who didn't see her as a problem to manage. Her stepmother started showing up too, sitting, watching, learning how to be present instead of powerful, and that scared her husband. Because control starts slipping the moment people stop being afraid. He set the trap perfectly, planted stolen parts in my locker, called the police with a clean story. I was arrested in front of my neighbor's handcuffs, biting into my wrists, squad car lights reflecting off the same walls I'd built my life around. I've never felt smaller than I did sitting in that holding cell thinking about my kid getting out of school and not knowing where I was. That's how fast everything can disappear. One lie, one phone call, and suddenly you're exactly what they always said you were. The thing he didn't count on was the girl. She'd learned enough from watching adults play chess with people's lives. She hacked into the house security system, pulled footage of him planting the evidence, and walked it straight into the police station with her stepmother beside her. No yelling, no begging, just truth, clean and undeniable. I was released before dark. Charges dropped. Record cleared. And that night, in a room full of rich people celebrating something they didn't earn, the truth caught up to him. He was arrested on stage. Cameras everywhere. Power stripped down to what it really was. A bully who thought money made him untouchable. Here's the thing, though. The victory wasn't watching him fall. The victory was what happened after. The car got finished. The engine roared back to life like it had something to prove. The girl laughed again, real laughter, not the guarded kind. Her stepmother learned how to be human instead of impressive. My kid got a room where she didn't have to whisper at night. The shop grew, not because of charity, but because someone finally saw value where the world saw disposable. We didn't fix everything. We argued. We messed up. We learned. But we did it out loud without hiding. People love the ending where the villain loses. They don't talk enough about the quiet part after where you decide who you're going to be now that you're not just surviving. So here's what I want you to think about. Was I right to take that job? Was she right to trust a stranger with grease-stained hands? Was he right to believe the system would protect him just because it always had? We like clean answers. Life doesn't give them. What it gives you are moments. A kid in the rain. A choice to help or walk away. A lie that almost destroys everything. And a truth that only survives because someone is brave enough to carry it. Tell me what you think. Was this justice? Was it luck? Or was it just a reminder that decency still matters in a world that keeps trying to convince us it doesn't? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all.